And I live in Michigan.
Awesome. All right, Brandon.
Hey, I'm Brandon Obanaya. Live in Michigan, and I'm a mechanical engineer at General Motors.
Okay, welcome. This is your first time here, right, Brandon?
Yeah, first time.
Welcome. Thank you. All right, Lonnie.
Hi, I'm Loni. I live in Troy, Michigan, and I'm an electrical engineer.
Awesome. Okay, Ezin, you're next on my screen.
Sorry?
You're muted.
Oh, can you hear me? Hello?
Ezin. I can. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Ezin Walleran, and
Mhm.
I'm in Michigan. I'm a financial advisor.
Okay, so for the new people, Ezin is the only member here that is a non-member, okay? Because he's our financial advisor, so he just helps us make financial decisions and kind of helps us with the funds and everything, which you've already probably seen in the previous videos that we sent out. I think everybody here has seen the previous video. Okay, the next one is Tilly Matilda. You mind? Matilda, you're on mute, so we can't hear.
Sorry, I think my phone froze for a bit. I'm Matilda Addo. I live in New York and I work for the government.
Thank you. Modizo?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Modeste, but I call myself Modizo. Most people call me that. Modeste Niragire. I'm a controls engineer at Steelcase.
Awesome. Andrew?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Edom. I'm an IT consultant with Plant Moran. I live in Troy, Michigan.
Awesome. Francis?
Hey y'all, so I'm Francis Capesa and I am a mechanical engineer with Hutchinson in Troy, Michigan.
All right, and then 517. 1 second, please.
Hi, cool. This is Kwame Yeboah.
Oh, Doc. Okay.
Yeah, so
Right. Awesome.
I'm Kwame Yeboah. I live in Lansing and I work for Michigan State University, assistant professor.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, so that's everybody I have so far. Just so you guys know, the meeting is being recorded, and then I'll of course send the recording out to you all after we are done today. So just to recap, our first meeting was just an introduction to the idea. Our second meeting, which was last month, we went through detail of all the bylaws, and I'm just going to bring it up on my screen and share it so that everybody can see. I hope you all got a chance to review the bylaws. Did anybody have any comments, thoughts, ideas, something that came up that you think we had to change on the bylaws? Anyone? All right, I'm going to just share my screen and just do a quick review. I'm not going to even go through it, just a quick review so you all will see what the bylaws we've had so far. So this, if you can see my screen, please let me know. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then do you see the group bylaws?
Yes, I do see it.
Okay. Hopefully I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. All right, so the first thing we talk about is the name is JC Investment Club, and then we went through all the list. There may be some missing items or whatever it is. We have room for amendments, and we've talked about how to get it amended here. But outside of that, it's basically all of us are coming together, raising an amount of $100,000 within the year $50,000 by June 30th, and then the next 50,000 by December 30th. So today, our agenda is to really, when we have a quorum, vote to admit these bylaws officially to be the bylaws that we use to run this investment club. And then we are going to set up our investment goals. And then also, I'm going to let you guys know the different forms that we need to work on. I'll be sending you things to sign electronically to get a form so we can register for this investment club. And then the last thing will be discuss the banking, where we are going to have our checking or savings account that we are going to deposit the money. Okay, so those are the only things we are going to cover today. And then maybe at the end of the day, when we have enough people within when enough people come on, then we'll just we'll get the bylaws voted in. Okay. With that being said, the first thing on our agenda is really to discuss the investment goals. We need to have a goal with which we can use to really decide what the kind of investment we want to do. Because our next month meeting, the focus of next month meeting will be to really decide what kind of investment we want to use the first part of the funds to do. And so when we have a goal, then what that will do is that would allow us to really use the goal as a benchmark to decide which investments to go through or what investments to use the money for. With that being said, this is the one time I don't have something to put front. I just want to hear what a few people are taught, and then Ezin, you can weigh in based on your experience. What is a realistic goal? And then I think what I will do is based on the submissions that will come, I'll pick one or two of them, and then we will vote and pick one. And that will be our investment goal. So any thoughts, any ideas? What do you guys think should be our investment goal? Basically, what that is how much money do you want, how much return on investment do we have to set for the money we want to start with? What do you guys think will be a good goal to set for the money? Thoughts? If you don't understand the question, please ask for clarification, but I would like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, please, can you repeat that? Like, what do you mean by the goal? I thought the 100K was the goal.
The 100K was the goal of the money we want to raise. And I'm glad you asked that question. The investment goal is how much money do we want the 100K to make? Do you want?
Okay.
In the next, we have 5 years, right? How much money do we want the 100K to raise? Do we want it to double? Do we want 10% interest? Do we want 20% interest? What is our goal?
Francis here. For me, at least, so I'll start. So for me, at least historical stock market return or more. So 12 or more % return.
A year?
Per year, on average. So out of the 5 years, of course, it's going to go up and down, right? But out of the 5 years, we should aim at least for it to be worthwhile our money and time. We should be very meticulous on the kind of investments we make so that it can return at least the stock market rate or more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I think that's logical, right? Because doing this is to, if we're making less than stock market, we might as well invest in the stock market, right? So I think beating the stock market should be our priority.
Okay.
And then I would say probably, if possible, in 5 years to be able to purchase like some tangible assets, like.
Okay. In 5 years, so are you saying within the 5 years or after 5 years? Or on the 5th year anniversary? What can you be a little clear on that?
So like what I'm saying basically is like, let's say if you want to invest in real estate, kind of having like enough cash at hand to like, you know, purchase something that is like tangible to, you know what I
Okay.
mean?
What so the timeline, do you want that to be done in a year, 2 years, within 5 years, or after 5 years?
Like after 5 years, I think we should
After
be,
5
like,
years.
yeah,
Okay.
be able to purchase properties basically like.
All right. Anyone else? Thoughts, ideas? This is just, I just want to hear what you guys, what the goals are, so we can all come to a consensus and decide how we want to really move forward with the funds.
I guess my suggestion would be to target a 15% return on investment.
15% on, okay. Are you saying 15% per year?
I would say overall, so on average,
Overall,
it doesn't have
okay.
to be per year.
So overall will be the 5 years, because we set a 5-year minimum. So would you say that you want a 15% return with over after 5 years, or per year for the first 5 years, which would be a compound?
I would say for the 5 years.
Okay. Can I get a few more? I personally my hope was that we could double the money within the 5 years. So if you are putting in 100 within 5 years at minimum, my goal is to have $200,000 in capital within the first 5 years. So that's just me. And
Yeah, hi everyone. So I think you asked two questions. The first one was how much return. For me, I would say as much as possible. I don't, but with the minimum being the average stock return percentage. But I wouldn't restrict myself to a percentage. It should be we should invest as smartly as possible to make the best that we can. So I wouldn't set a benchmark, just a minimum to be the average return on investment that we typically see on the stock market. So that would be the first response, as much as possible. And I think the second one was, what would we want to do with the money in 5 years? Like I missed that, the second part of the question.
So we didn't really decide on that. I know Modesta was the one that put forward that idea that he would want us to purchase a significant property in 5 years. So that was just a submission, but it wasn't really a question.
Sorry, I didn't say necessary to buy property. I say enough money to be able to do it.
Enough money.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would also leave that open for us to, because we are going to be meeting as often as possible. So to leave room for flexibility for when we meet and one of us or someone has insight into something that they think will may be beneficial for us to invest into, we can decide at that meeting, vote on it and put some money in it. So.
Okay.
Anything that is lucrative.
Okay. So you guys, based on the submission that just came through, do you think we should then, instead of just setting a goal, instead of having a ceiling, basically have a base, and then say that we want to make sure that every investment we decide on has to at least make, let's say, 15% or more, so that base is what guides our decisions in terms of choosing where to invest and where not to invest. So if we get a submission and then we look at the return on investment is, let's say, less than 15%, we say no to it. What do you guys think? So we will decide on the rate. I'm just using 15% as an example. I'm just saying, based on what Matilda just said, instead of us setting a ceiling, like a cap of this is what we are going to do, we set a base and use that base as a way to decide which investments to entertain and which ones not to entertain. Does that make sense? If you need
Yeah, I
clarity,
totally agree. We should have a base instead of being, because we don't want to be too optimistic, but we should have at least a base, like you said.
Okay.
So whether it's 10%, 12%, 15%, but for me it's 12% at least. Because for me to take money out of the stock market, it has to be worthwhile, right?
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, so I'm just to move on. I'm assuming the silence means all of you are in agreement. So with that being said, so here's the thing. We said 75% of people have to be present to form a quorum, right? And now our total number is 16. Okay, let me do this. So with that being said, hold on 1 second, let me see something here. So 12, we do have 12, right? Let me count. I just want to make sure we have a quorum before we vote on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, we do. Okay, so with that being said, do you guys agree that, and you just have to type this yes or no, that moving forward, our investment goal is that for any investment that we will entertain, it has to have a return on investment for 12% or more? If you agree, yes. If you don't agree, no. Just put it in the comment section. I'll count the votes and then we just.
Hey, Kwame, I have a quick question. You mentioned earlier on during the introductions that one person wasn't a member. So I'm just confirming that the 12 that you counted are made up of all members.
Yes.
Okay.
I counted without Ezen. Yep. Ezen doesn't vote. So without Ezen, we are still, so now we are 13 on the platform. And so 12, yes. Thank you for that. Okay.
You have a yes from me.
What was that? Doc.
You have a yes from me.
Oh, so yeah, no. So you would probably have to do a verbal vote if you don't mind. Please, I'm just going to count the votes.
Okay.
Yes. So is that a yes or no for you?
It's a yes for me.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I have 8 and with Doc 9. So there's 3 more I'm missing, but that is majority. And so I guess, okay, 1 just came in, so 10. So we agreed that for a decision to stand, we have to have 75% or more, and 75% of 12 is 9, we have 10 votes, so that goes. So moving forward, I'll send this as a correspondence. What we are going to do is next, in July, what we need is investment ideas. And the way when we started this group, what we talked about is everybody is welcome to present an idea, including, I wanted to ask you, as in if you can also, if you don't mind, bring in 1 or 2 investment, the stock market funds that you think would be worth investing in to present to the group. That might give us a minimum of 12 or more. And then what we want to do is, all you have to do is send that idea. And there's 3 things that we need as a group. I will send out an Excel sheet. I'll show it to you right now before I send it out. this is going to be the sheet with which, if anybody wants to, we are going to calculate our return on investment to know whether we want to invest in your idea or not. Everybody or anyone is welcome to bring or to submit an idea. But can you guys see my screen right now? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
I can see the Excel sheet.
You can? Okay, I'm just going to go over this real quick. Do you see the Excel sheet? This is one I created, we did a long time ago. It's a very basic, it looks a lot, but it's basic. Everything from here is all formula based, right? But when you have a business idea, even if it's real estate, whatever, that you think it would be good for the group to invest in, if you can fill out this column, that will give us what it will cost to invest in the business. So this is what you think the sales, the expense. It's like basic financial statement. But what it does is actually, I'm sorry, you fill out this column, the projections. I will send an empty one that has 0 figures, okay? And all you need to do is fill the first column, and that's it. Everything else will be calculated. This helps me calculate the return on investment if it's a business. Am I making sense? So let's say somebody has a business that they think is a good idea, say a restaurant. What you could do, you can take the restaurant's financial statement and put the numbers in here. Remember, within one of our core values as a group is we are going to do data-driven decisions. And so we want to make sure that before we put any money in anything, we want to analyze it as much as possible and make sure that the data supports the projections that are being done. This will give me the chance to calculate the return on investment. The key, based on our bylaw, says that if there is an interest in there's an investment proposal, every member has to see the proposal 2 weeks before we meet. So I will need to receive it before June 30th. So I can put it in a format and send it out to every member so that you all will get to review it before we meet on mid-July. We'll decide the date today, but before we meet mid-July. And then at that meeting, we will look at all the different investments that I have received. And then all of them will be presented in a unique format. Not in this Excel sheet, it'll probably be a Word document. It will tell us how much we need to put in there, how much we are expected to receive, and how long it will take to get that return. Okay, so these are the 3 things I'll put on the summary and send it to everybody. It will be how much we need to put in. Let's say it's $10,000 that we need to put in. We will get $15,000 if you put in that $10,000 by 2 years, and that will be the return on investment, the $15,000, and it will be within 2 years. So those are the 3 things that I will put on the sheet, and then I'll send it out with all the different business. I'll name the business, the amount of investment, the return on investment, and a timeline. And each one of them will have that, and I'll send it to the group. But I need to send it out 2 weeks before we meet. So if you have an idea, I will just send you this. If you feel like you can make your case without using this, that is fine. The only thing I'll say is that whatever projections you do, it has to be substantiated, meaning the numbers have to make sense. You can't, you just can't pull numbers out of the air. It has to be substantiated with maybe research or fact or financial information from the company's history, if it's a company that is not there. If it's a new company, then you can illustrate it with industry knowledge. Right now, for example, real estate comes to mind. If you want us to buy a building, then you can say that the average rent in this area costs $500. So if you buy this building for $10,000, we can take $500 a month, and this is how we can substantiate the investment. Any questions? This is really important, and this is why we are here. So this is the heart of our group. Any questions with that? any comments, any ideas? Maybe you guys have a better way. I'm just asking. But I have the template of this that I can send out any day.
Francis here again.
Yes, sir.
I just have a comment. We just have to be very careful when it comes to financials.
Yes.
So let's say I go and invest. We probably, at least for the people that live in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Let's say it's like cola restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know their financials are like real? Because it's a private company, they can put whatever numbers that they have there, right? So I just want to make sure that I just want to mention that everybody should be critical to whatever they give, and actually go there and experience, be a customer, and then see how everything is going and stuff like that. That way you can be able to judge, okay, the financial state is this, but like customer service is very garbage, right? So
that is awesome. That's a great submission. I'll give you guys 4 things that I know for sure. So every investor, right, before they invest, they look at, if it's an existing company, we look at your bank statement. Your prior year bank statement should confirm the numbers you put on the projection sheet, right, the cash flow projection. So number 1 is the bank statement. And then number 2 is your taxes. Okay, the taxes should confirm that, okay, so you cannot say I made $100,000 last year, but on the taxes it's only $10,000, and you say, well, you know, it has to. But if you actually file taxes that you made $100,000, then that gives us, that is the kind of confirmation we need to be able to say, okay, this will actually make us what we need. So, but if it's a new business, then you may not have all of those information, right? Because it's new. But with a new business, you can say that, you can confidently say that the rental or the, let's say, you mentioned cola, the average restaurant in Northwestern Highway, that's what make this amount. And so you can use the industry knowledge, is what I mean. If it's online business, there's industry knowledge, and those will have to be the way we prove the numbers. And then at the end of the day, it will come here for us to vote on it. So it won't be just random stuff. We will all meet, we'll look at the facts and then decide which direction to go. And we don't have to make a decision in our first meeting. Anyways, when we have the money, we have to take our time. So let's say we see a business, we like it, but we are not sure. We can say, let's come back next month. Can you get us A, B, and C documents? And then the person will send it to the group before the group comes together and vote. The fact that we have the money doesn't mean we have to make the decision the same time the money is available. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, and to add to that, we can also say that we expect the financials to be one that is made by certified public accountants. So not just something that the company provides to us, but if it's an upstanding company, they should be able to have financials that are audited and signed or approved by certified public accountants. So that would be what I would expect us to use for decision making.
Okay, yeah. And I know for sure we have a few auditors and a CPA on this platform. So if anything, we can always revert to their expertise as well. But that's great, yeah. Because if it's an upstanding company, they should have audited financial statements that we can use to decide whether to invest or not. Ezen, do you mind speaking a little bit on your ability to really also present? Are you able to show us 1 or 2 things that we can all review as a group to also decide if we want to put some of the money into the stock market or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. All right. So, first off, I mean, I think that the stock market in a group like you guys group, you know, because you're a little different. When you invest in the stock market, the main idea is really to invest long term. You know, that's really the, I mean, all industry professionals, we all agree on that. You know, that's the one thing we all agree on, that if you're going to invest in the stock market to make those type of 12% returns or plus, because quite frankly, when you say you want to double the money in the next 5 years, when I ran in my mind, the numbers would be somewhere around 20% simple interest every year. But if you have to compound the interest, you know, so those numbers are higher than 12%, basically, if you want to double the money in 5 years. So that's the one first thing I was thinking about when you first said that. So if you're gonna use even just a portion of your money in the stock market, and then you just have 5 years to do it, then you have to take a different approach than the traditional, you know, investment approach. And that approach would be a much more dynamic and you know, much more tactical approach to investment, which means this: we will have to have conversations with you guys that look at what's going on right now. You know, like right now, some things are very obvious, you know, and so that's how you make that double your money type of thing. You know, the Ford stock is pretty beat up, but when you look at, since we have like pretty sharp accountants here, I would actually team up with them and then say, okay, these are the financials of this company, you know, and this is the stock of that company. So are we finding a certain type of, are we agreeing on that, the fact that there's a discrepancy in the real financials of the company? And financials means, you know, so many different things. Like we look at the balance sheet, you look at the cash flow of the company, all those are very public. So it's easier to study stocks from that perspective than to study cola restaurant, for instance. Much easier, because, you know, you don't have to, I mean, everything is already pre-audited and made public. So it's easy for us to really have a good conversation as to whether this is a good stock or not. Because if you say, okay, no, airline stocks are good right now, blah, 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 when you turn around and look at a couple of things of the financials, you say, oh my God, these are going to take like the next 7-8 years before they actually return a profit. You see, so we can actually spot those right now. So that's what I mean by being tactical. If you guys want to go into stocks, investments, and double the money in the next 5 years, I believe it will be much more of a tactical analysis that we'll do. And then it's not just, I mean, I can bring a number of ideas on that in that area. I just did bring about 2 right now, right? I said airlines, I could say cruise lines, I could say so many things right now. I could say, I don't know, oil, you know, like Marathon, you know, Exxon, all those companies that we look at on a daily basis to build client portfolios. So that's fairly easy to do. Now, when I look at your spreadsheet, because I was reviewing it right now, I think that from a stock standpoint, when it comes to revenue, you know, it would be the dividends, you know, so we would have to possibly build portfolios, you know, that actually have a component which would be dividends. So it's easy for us to say, okay, we're pretty sure even if Ford just skipped their dividend like last month or a couple months ago, they skipped the dividend, they're going to bring that dividend back before the end of the year. So I can say that, you know, it's somewhere around, I think, let me be realistic, somewhere around 6 to 8% that we can expect from any position. So if you have 100,000, or if you have just 10,000, that's 600 for the year, for example. You see, so we can populate your spreadsheet with that kind of information. You see, but that would be just one part of the portfolio. The other 10,000, if you're investing 20,000 in stocks, could be some stock that does not produce any dividend, but it's just an opportunity that we're seeing with Marathon, you know, because Marathon is very beat up right now. It's down to maybe, I don't know, I can't even think of the price. I think about $6 a share or something like that. And it used to be somewhere in the maybe $8 or $12 a share. So that's our 30 to 50 or maybe 100% return that we're looking at right there. You see, that's the way that stockbrokers think, you know. So that's the kind of contribution that we can make to this type of group. You see, so and then I mean, the most important thing of what I said is that it might not even take 5 years to double the money. It might just take a single one opportunity. You see, whichever amount of money you decide to allocate to stock. You see, so and the second thing you had asked me is if there are some opportunities that I see out side of stock market, or like he mentioned cola, or like restaurants, or maybe trucking companies. And so because I'm not an expert in it, and then I'm in this group as an expert, that's a pretty important point you raised. Because I'm not a member and I'm not a contributing member, I have to bring the maximum. My best contribution I can bring to you is what I do for a living, you see. So I would prefer to do those off, how do you say, offline, right? Offline with you directly. So if you see, and then it would be one of them, you or maybe Lassina, because you guys are the two people I know, the longest in the group right now. So, you guys, it would be on you to bring that type of recommendation or idea on the table, But me personally, I believe it'd be better in my position to stick with all I can do when it comes to stock. And if somebody on the call brings up, okay, you know what, I really think that we got to be investing in Tesla, for instance, right now, because although they're at 1,000, I think they're going to 2,000. My thing would be to do some analysis and bring some analysis to the table that say, you might be right, or okay, these are the things that we look at typically when you expect a stock to double in price over the next 1 year.
Okay.
Did that help?
Yes, and I just want to
Yes.
clarify that. So with what you mentioned, what you mean is, so let's say we have ideas of investment, like for investment companies with whom we should buy their stocks. We can send them to you, and then you can analyze it and present to the group on what you think, whether the assumption is right or wrong, or what you think it's going to be, just as an advice to the group before we make a decision on that.
That's the best way to use me. I would agree. Yep. Okay. If you give them, if you discuss between yourselves and you say, okay, we want we want an actual report or an actual presentation from Ezen on these particular opportunities, then I would give you my assessment, which will never be like a recommendation. You go and buy this one. It will always be a very as professional and as neutral as possible, because the ultimate decision is always up to the group and the client. I mean, I look at you guys as a client, to be honest. Yeah. So the ultimate decision always comes back to the client, I guess.
Okay, thank you. That is a lot clear. Okay. Anybody has questions on that? Or thoughts? So just basically what we are saying is, right now, beginning today, we are able to begin to present ideas. Like I said, if it's a private company that you know, or if it's stocks or whatever. And then I think how we are going to do it is, as in when I receive recommendations through email or whatever platform, I will send it to you. And then hopefully our next meeting, whichever recommendations are received in terms of investment that has to do with stock market or publicly listed companies, then you can come up with some analysis on it so that we will use that to help our decision.
Yeah, but I would also ask, because I go through this a lot. Please give me 2 weeks, because it's so many things I have to do every time. So
that is a minimum.
I would appreciate, if you give me at least 2 weeks to be able to cram time into researching those stocks,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I think all the submissions will have to be done. That's what we meet once a month in the middle of the month. So between now and the end of the month, we'll try to get all the submissions, and then we'll use that too. So everybody will have 2 weeks to do the work, because even for myself, before I will analyze it from an accounting perspective with the help of Lassina, and Zikora is not here, but we will need some help with that. So at least before June 30th. And I think I'll send an email to everybody just detailing that information. Okay, any questions, any thoughts? Is everybody clear? We are not voting on this because this is already listed in the bylaw. So if you have questions, thoughts, submissions, please let us know.
Just a quick comment to make it easier for the financial advisor. can we make a Google Sheet with different windows? Like window 1 will be stock market, so you only have like the stocks that the
Okay.
person recommended and then their name. That way, on next meeting, if before the financial advisor looks at it, maybe the person can say, okay, this is what I think is good. That we can give the financial advisor some kind of perspective. So you have one window for stock market, one window for maybe like real estate, one window for private businesses. Instead of sending emails, I feel like it would be inefficient. It will
Okay.
give you more work, Kwame, because you will then end up to having to put it together somewhere.
Yeah. So what you are saying is to create like a shared document with
Yeah.
everybody, right?
For
That-
ideas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I can do that. I can actually create a form similar to the forms that everybody filled out. I'll create a form that you can go in and then fill out with your idea. It's going to be a very simple form, and then that way it can flow through, and then it won't be emailed back and forth. But thank you for that, Francis. That's really good. So I will create a form, and then I'll send a link out, and then all you have to do is just fill it out if you have an idea or if you have a thought, and then I think what I'll do is whatever the thought, the suggestion is, if it has to do with publicly listed companies, we'll send it to us, and if it's not, then we will try to analyze it and we'll send the results out before 2 weeks. Now, if you are not able to present something before June 30th, that doesn't mean it's the end of it, because we meet every month. The only thing is, if it comes after that, that means that yours, whatever you brought to the table, is not going to be part of the meeting, but then it will be part of the next. So that will be August meeting. It won't be part of July's meeting, but it'll be part of August meeting, because we need a time to be able to review. But it doesn't mean it's over. I hope that makes sense. Any thoughts, any additions, any clarity needed with the process? Questions? Okay, so help me, can you, I know you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself to the group. Is that Efenyi? Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, fine.
Efenyi, thank you. Can you introduce yourself to the group? Tell us who you are, what state you are in, and what you do.
Okay.
So welcome to the club.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ifeanyi. I'm in Michigan, of course. I'm in Lansing. I am an IT help desk person. That's my daytime job. I wear a lot of many hats. I also own my own business. I do digital content production, and also I'm also a financial investor and trader.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, everybody introduced themselves, but we just welcome to the group. We just finished making a decision on the presentation of ideas for the next meeting, so we can have, something to begin to discuss with respect to the investment, the first pool of funds. So now the last part of the meeting, and then we'll be out of here. I'm even worried with the time. So it's the registration. I sent the partnership forms. I hope you all saw it. I will be sending out, so now the reason why I sent the partnership form is I wanted you guys to see it. That is a Michigan State partnership forms. Ezin, did you get a chance to see the forms? Did you see if it was the right forms that I sent out? If not, I can pull it up on the screen again. Ezin, did you get a chance to see the forms?
You see, I didn't. I just so much apologize because I did not realize that you had that in the email.
Oh, no, that's okay. Well, let me pull it up again. I just want to make sure that we have the right forms that we are using. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an e-sign document where each member is able to sign their name, and then I think it requires your name. Your social security number is optional, but I think your name and your signature to say that you are, oh, wait, that's why. 1 second. I just want to bring it on the screen so everybody can see it. Are you able to see the forms?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, the application to register as a limited liability partnership. So we'll have the name and then the address of the group. I'm just going to use the 2630 Whitemore. That is the address for Bobadine. I'm just going to use that as the address just for registration purposes. A brief statement of the business partnership. I'm just going to say that it's an investment club, and then and then the home state of the partnership outside of Michigan. We won't need that. Name of registered agent to receive service of process in Michigan. I'm going to put my name here, and then the address of the registered office, and then we don't have a federal identification number yet. We will have to get this registered before we can have that. Then, okay, so this is going to be the important part. There is 16 of us, but on the forms, there's only 2 space. But it says that if there are more than 2 signatures, use additional pages to attach to this application. And so what I'm thinking is to create, and I'm just going to create a simple form like this. So none of us will sign here, okay? None of us will sign here. I just create a simple PDF like this one that will look something like this. Name, signature, and then it says this is optional here. It says it's optional, so we may not need that. You see, the social security number is optional. So we at least have the name, signature, and maybe I'll think date of birth just for identification purposes. And then we can all fill it out and attach it to the forms and send it out. Does that sound, I just want to hear from the group with that, you, as in from your professional, I don't know. This is the first time.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I definitely have quite a few things to say here. For example, I mean, and I held back from saying it earlier on, but when it comes to the quorum, for instance, I believe that you guys, and then that's actually, I'm speaking from experience of these groups, you know, like you see some people didn't show up today, some people will show up next time. So you don't never really know who's, you know, in it, who's committed with their money and who's really ready to put their money where their mouth is until they do. So I believe that once the first form that you need to do is the subscription agreement. So before everything happens, you know, people who have subscribed to the group, you know, maybe you can put the money, you know, the first check on the side, but at least, you know, everybody who has subscribed to the group is going to be, you know, the people who are counted in terms of votes and in terms of making decisions on everything. So once you've subscribed, so you've provided your information, your local address, your name, possibly at least your driver's license, possibly your social security, blah, blah, blah. So you filled out that form, then, you know, you're a member, like everything else really in this country. You know, that's what makes you a member. And then that's where, you know, you can actually start submitting ideas, submitting votes. Now, once you have the subscription agreement completed, last time you guys already elected a few officials for different, how did you call them? They were like
committees, like different
committees. Yeah, committees. Yeah.
Yes.
So those people that you were named as committees would be the people who signed an actual that form, that particular state of Michigan form, because that's
but all of us belong to a particular committee. Should we just select one member from each committee?
I think so, because they just want officials, because each person, each head of a committee, you know, would be actually the official that signs as the partnership. You know, it's almost like they represent. So I would say about 3 or 4 people for that signature would be enough. But now, when it comes to opening accounts, bank accounts, it should be the same 4 people, for example, who sign on those bank accounts. Or if you guys want to have only a treasurer and maybe the the chair of the group, that's fine too. You know, typically a couple of signatures on bank accounts is very traditional. So my point here is that different things may involve different people, but the one thing that has to involve everybody is the subscription itself. You see?
Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to make this vote. I know time is fast spent. Just a quick vote. How many of you, what do you guys think if we let the finance committee, oh, no, either the finance committee or the legal committee handle, the legal committee will handle the registration, right? And then they can meet outside of this group to decide, because we have people that belong to the legal committee. And then the finance committee will be the one that works on the bank account. Do you think this is a good idea or not? Thoughts, comments, and then we will do a quick vote.
I like your original idea where there should be a member from each committee on there, so it makes it diverse, and not just one committee is on the banking information.
Okay, that's okay. Any other thoughts on that? So that the reason why I was thinking about that is so we can get the, let's say for example, the registration of the company, then the legal committee can kind of email themselves and work with themselves to decide and then kind of get it done, you know, as we move through, and then their responsibility will be to get it done maybe within the next week. So it's not everybody's responsibility, because the forms is pretty simple. And then they will fill it out and then we just submit, we just mail it in. Because if you do one from each committee, then now the committees will have to meet and vote. I think it would, that's why we kind of made those 3 key committees, so that each one will have a responsibility. So the
so let me just make sure I'm clear and I can understand. This is just for the paperwork. This is not just for this is not the bank account situation, right?
No, I think the bank account situation for withdrawal, we are going to choose one from each committee. And remember, this is for the paperwork.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right. So if you all agree, just put yes to let the legal committee handle it. If you don't, just hit no. Can we just do a quick vote so we can get over with this, and then I will contact the legal team to see how I'll get them to get this registered as soon as possible. Okay. I have a few yeses. Can you guys all vote so we can I know we've already spent too much time. So I have 6 votes so far. Seven. I need a minimum of 9 votes to move forward. Okay. All right. Thank you all. All right. So I will just do that, and then they will get a group registered for us, and then I will send out a subscription agreement. I'll work with you, Ezen, to get that subscription agreement that will be sent out. The finance committee will register for the, well, we will all, with the bank statement, we need this thing to be registered first. When it's registered, the other thing is, I think if you all can decide who your representative is going to be on your committees, that they will be the signatories to the bank account, and then I would know. Here's what I'll say. I will send out the committees again so everybody knows who is with them. And then I think I'll send out a list of each committee and their emails. And all I need before the end of this week is the one person that you want to be representative for the bank. So as soon as the registration is done, we can move forward and then begin to have somewhere to receive the funds. So the
Can I chime
subscription,
in?
yes.
All right. And I let that go last time, but I see that it's gonna keep coming back. I didn't say anything last time because it's a sticky point. Banks typically only take 2 people for signatures. You know, that's most
Okay.
of the time that's what they do. So if you have 4 committees, plus, you know, in the dynamics of the committee, you know, it's much easier if you have a minimum number of people that can sign, because the signature really relates to checks. You see,
Yes.
signing at the bank is really just about checks, and then
Yeah.
going at the counter and then making a withdrawal. You know, that's the only thing. So if you just have 2 people, you know, maybe one from the finance, one from the legal, it would way be enough. But now what you
Okay.
can create like our internal documents, because that's where, and I know that you guys mentioned it last time, that for something that's like $25 expense to pay for stamps because you're sending out letters for the whole group, for instance, you might not need to have everybody sign on that permission or that authorization. You can just produce a receipt that, okay, this is the, you know, the check that was, I'm sorry, this is what the money was used for, to pay that. So you could have even a debit card in the
Okay.
hands of just very selected few people. The debit cards, you could have multiple debit cards, you know. So if you need an extra person, you need like 3 different people. You can have like extra debit cards printed. But when it comes to signature, you want to be careful, because now that you have people out of state and in different states, if you want to really have an easy flow of the money to actually not create some slow down,
You are cutting out a little bit.
be there seriously. You're gonna have to have the people at the bank, you know.
You're cutting out a little bit. But I think with what you said, we will let the finance and the legal committee handle that. I will send out the committees again, and then just a quick
Sure.
note for everybody that just joined. I will just put you on a committee, just, you know, out of discretion, because we won't have time to vote and do all of that. I'll just put you on a committee, and then, you know, you will get the email and information of all the members. But thank you so much for that. As in, so what we will do is we will probably let the finance and legal committee handle that. And then I am on the communication committee, so it will give me time to be able to also get the wording out and then, you know, be able to do all the correspondence. So basically what we are expecting is for me to send out an email. Okay, I'll send out an email discussing what we agreed on in terms of the minimum goals, the subscription, information. I think Ezin sent me a template already, so I can get that out. And then also the committee representatives, you know, I'll send out the committee information with all the emails, so everybody will have that. I just need one person from each committee to know who the representative will be. And then also, yeah, I think get the business registered and a bank account open. The goal is to do this before the end of June, so that people will have a place to begin to deposit the funds when they are ready to. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Kwame.
Yes.
Kwame, remember when we spoke a couple weeks ago, and I was saying that we need to do like a monthly administrative fee, like you know, like a $10 or $20, so that way, if we're taking care of administrative stuff, it's not coming out of the investment funds.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember that. The reason why we haven't introduced that yet is there's 2 things happening here. With respect to the registration of the thing, I'm happy to upfront the cost, and then when it's registered and everything, we can always deduct that from that's going to only be like $50. And then because the last meeting, because this was new, we wanted to really run it and then work together to really do the expenses first. I think over time we will bring the administrative fees to the table. Right now we don't even know what the administrative expenses are going to be, and so I just this is new, so we want to really run it for a while to see how things go. And so I don't anticipate any major expense with the exception of the business registration yet.
Well,
But
well,
no,
here's
I
the
did
thing.
take
Here's the
note of
thing.
that. Yes, sir.
Well, here's the thing. Like if we plan on doing financial investing, there are fees that you got to pay to, acquire shares, like, buy, and also there are fees to sell shares. So that's something you have to take into consideration if you're doing financial investing.
Yes, and then those are all going to be part of the presentation that whenever we are ready to do the investment, Ezra was going to run us through the different forms of that so that we know, and then we will vote as a group to decide how we want to move forward with it. And I think that will be something that at that point we can decide if we want to put in extra so we can clear that fees and then have the whole investment in there, or we want it to come out of there. Because we haven't even received the funds and we don't even know the direction yet, I didn't want to really, because we don't know what that is.
Okay.
But that is something that definitely will come to the table in one of our subsequent meetings. Our meeting is every month, so this is going to be built as we move. But no, that is definitely something on my mind. I hope it makes sense to you, sir.
Yeah. We just, I guess we'll just wait till all the fees and stuff comes in place, so that way it's not eaten into our initial investment. Thoughts.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts, questions? All right, if all minds are clear, I think we'll call it a day for this meeting. If you have questions, you can email it. We need to create a group platform, like a WhatsApp group platform where people can begin to have, continuous conversations. And I know I'm actually going to get that. So for that to be done, I'll need everybody's phone number. And so if you are, so we can have like an ongoing conversation on a lighter note that will give us, or help us clear a lot of things that are not business before we meet for business. So also, when you do the subscription, I think I'll add phone number to it so we can create a WhatsApp platform for us. Okay, thank you guys very much. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and you should hear from me before the end of the day tomorrow with a follow-up email. Next meeting, because we said Sunday evenings are okay, our July meeting looks like it's going to be either I'm going to put it on the 19th. That is the next Sunday. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sundays before that date, which is good because it will give us 3 weeks to submit our investment ideas. So 19th at 7 p.m. Is that okay with everyone? If you have objections, just speak out. If not, I'll just use that as our next.
I have a question. You mentioned something about the investment idea. I kind of missed the meeting because I had some family responsibilities. But what investment ideas is it just what are you guys planning to do with the first initial round?
So I'll send you the video. That's why I recorded. I'm going to send everybody the video, and it will really go through all the discussions ahead of time, so you'll be able to hear it. And then what I'll do is, if you have a follow-up question, you and I can talk on it. Sounds good?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the video. I record everything. So everybody will receive a copy of the video. All right, thank you all very much.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.